Cassie Ventura, officially done for the day, officially done with her testimony. She is expected to give birth any day now, according to her attorney.
P. Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. All lies will be exposed, that's all.
The former girlfriend of rapper Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy, singer Cassie Ventura, testified in court about the abuse he allegedly subjected her and other people at his parties to, according to the Washington Post. In her testimony, Cassie described her relationship with Combs as abusive and completely controlled by him. According to her, there was a lot of cruelty and pressure in the relationship. On the second day of the hearing, she continued to share details. Cassie spoke several times about incidents of physical abuse by Combs. She admitted that at one point she couldn't hold back and burst into tears in court. This happened when she recalled how, in February 2023, she sought help at a rehabilitation center and underwent therapy for trauma. According to her, she began to have intrusive memories while filming a music video with another artist. During that period, she also had suicidal thoughts. Cassie admitted that at the beginning of the relationship, she was still very young and inexperienced, especially in intimate matters. She tried to understand what was happening but felt confused. According to her, every time they broke up, it was accompanied by intense internal conflict. At the same time, she still felt that she occupied an important place in his life, which only confused her more. She shared details of how her relationship with Sean Combs developed and how it eventually became abusive. In 2011, Cassie Ventura sent an email to her mother and Sean Diddy Combs' employee, which was later shown to the jury in court as part of the case against Combs. In this email, Ventura described in detail the threats she had received from Combs against her and her loved ones. She reported that Combs had threatened to release explicit sexual videos of her, including one filmed during the Christmas holidays. These threats were intended to intimidate and control her. In addition, the letter stated that Combs threatened to hurt not only Ventura herself, but also Scott Mescudi, known by his stage name Kid Cudi, with whom Ventura was in a relationship at the time. Ventura emphasized that the threats would be carried out not by his own hands, that is, through third parties. She also indicated that Combs planned to be abroad when the threats were to be carried out, which would have made it difficult to pursue him directly. This letter shows that the relationship between Ventura and Combs was marked by intimidation, psychological pressure, and attempts at control, which is an important aspect of the case in court. The threat of public disclosure of intimate material and physical violence created an atmosphere of fear and pressure that Ventura sought to cope with, which supports her testimony of years of abuse and harassment by Combs. Physical acts of violence then followed.
And what she says about the freak-offs is that Diddy allegedly was in control. She says that, it was very well choreographed. Like, it was almost, she was describing it, I was like, it sounds like he was shooting a music video.
Executive producing.
No, for real. She says that, there were certain supplies that they would have, right?
According to her, the first instance of physical violence from Combs came as a complete surprise to her. She said she was in shock. This marked the beginning of a series of incidents in which, Ventura claims, he used brutal force against her. Among other things, she recounted how he beat her after a night out at a nightclub in Los Angeles. One particularly disturbing incident occurred when she tried to escape. According to Ventura, Combs' security guards began chasing her, following his orders. She felt she couldn't get out of the relationship. Ventura also recounted events from 2018. She claims that Combs raped her in the living room of her own home. She said it was one of the most traumatic moments of their relationship. Cassie admitted that she felt trapped. She feared for her safety because she knew Combs had access to a gun. She also recalled how he had threatened her on several occasions in the past. According to her, even after they broke up, he continued to intimidate her and make it clear that he could hurt her. Cassie Ventura also told the court that Sean Combs' aggressive behavior was not limited to their relationship. According to her, she witnessed him being physically violent toward other people, including his own employees.
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose.
She recalled one incident when she personally saw Combs hit someone on the head. She did not specify who it was, but implied that such behavior was not uncommon for him. Ventura also recounted a dangerous situation that occurred in her apartment in Los Angeles. According to her, it was early in the morning. She saw Combs holding her friend over the balcony railing. She did not provide details about the cause of the conflict, but explained that it was a very disturbing moment that she would remember for a long time. In addition, she shared that in 2018, one of her arguments with Combs led to the end of her longtime friendship. At that time, she stopped communicating with her best friend, with whom she had been close for 17 years. She did not specify what exactly happened, but made it clear that the situation was so tense that the relationship could not be saved. During her testimony, Cassie Ventura also recounted an episode related to her brief relationship with another artist, rapper Kid Cudi. According to her, when Sean Combs found out that she had started dating Katie in 2011 during an event called Freak Off, he reacted extremely aggressively. Cassie said that at that moment, Combs flew into a rage. He grabbed a wine corkscrew and lunged at her. She did not specify whether she was struck, but emphasized that it was a serious threat on his part. Ventura also reported that Combs had explicitly told her that Kid Cudi's car would be blown up. According to her, an explosion did indeed occur later that day, damaging Cudi's vehicle. In her testimony, she did not explicitly link the explosion to Combs, but mentioned it as a fact that occurred after the threats were made. Cassie told the court that from the very beginning of her relationship with Sean Combs, the abuse was not secret. Many people saw it. According to her, security guards and even Combs' driver witnessed him using physical force against her. She also mentioned that in the years that followed, Combs' assistants also saw her being abused. One of the assistants, whom Ventura named as Mia, repeatedly witnessed such situations. Some of the assistants, according to Ventura, even quit their jobs because they couldn't stand how Combs treated her. Cassie Ventura gave a detailed account in court of one of the most traumatic episodes of her relationship with Sean Diddy Combs, which took place in 2015 at a Las Vegas hotel. According to her, while Combs was throwing a party in the adjacent room, an argument broke out between them, during which he physically assaulted her. Ventura said Combs punched and kicked her. She tried to escape and managed to get to the bathroom, where she hid under the toilet to protect herself from further blows. When Combs' security and management finally intervened to stop the violence, Ventura had already been severely beaten. She had black eyes and large bumps on her forehead, the size of golf balls, she said. Importantly, one of Combs' security guards, upon seeing Ventura's condition, was so shaken and emotionally affected that he began to cry, indicating the seriousness of the situation and how obvious the signs of abuse were. After the incident, Ventura had to stay at Combs' house for just under a week to recover from her physical injuries. Combs' son was also at the house at the time, which added to the tension. Ventura also testified about a FaceTime conversation with Combs when he saw her injuries. At that point, Combs told her to put on more makeup to hide the bruises from his son, which demonstrates an attempt to conceal the effects of the violence.
I also was just recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes.
You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes,
new.
there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood.
Ventura continued to testify in court. At this point, prosecutors focused on questions related to how she could have been coerced into doing things she did not want to do. The jury was shown several pieces of important evidence that helped them understand what she had gone through and what the alleged abuse looked like. Among the evidence were photographs showing her injuries: black eyes, a swollen lip, a cut on her forehead, and other bruises on her body. These images show physical evidence of what she claims happened. In addition, the jury was shown about 7 still frames from a video titled Freak Offs. In these images, Ventura was with several different escorts. These frames were shown only to the jury and not to the people in the courtroom who were listening to the case. Cassie herself explained who was depicted in these photos. Tomorrow, defense attorneys are expected to begin questioning Ventura during cross-examination. It is also known that Cassie Ventura's mother will most likely testify in court tomorrow. As part of the trial of Sean Diddy Combs on charges of human trafficking and assault, important evidence has been presented to the court that has now become public knowledge. One piece of evidence relates to an incident that took place in 2016 at a hotel in Los Angeles. According to the case file, in March 2016, a serious conflict arose at the Intercontinental Hotel, where Combs was staying with his girlfriend Cassie Ventura. CCTV footage shows Combs attacking Ventura in the hotel corridors. The hotel security service was notified of the incident. Officer Israel Flores, who was working as a security guard at the hotel at the time, testified that he was called and told that there was a woman in danger at the hotel who needed help. Flores immediately arrived at the scene to find out what was happening. After the incident, Combs approached Flores in his hotel room with a wad of cash. According to the officer, he perceived this as an attempt to bribe him to cover up what had happened and avoid an official investigation. Flores refused to accept the money, explaining that it was his duty not to allow such situations to be hushed up. In an official email that Flores sent to the hotel's security management, he described his actions and the circumstances of the incident. In the letter, he also quoted Combs' words to him during the conversation. "You take care of this, and I'll take care of you." Flores perceived these words as a direct threat and an attempt to pressure him not to get involved in the situation. In addition, 4 photographs taken after the incident in the hotel corridors were presented in court. These photos show that a vase was broken during the conflict, and the flowers she was holding were scattered on the floor. There were also stains on the walls, which were likely caused by collisions or damage during the incident. This visual evidence helped the jury better understand how tense and dangerous the situation was at the time. All of this material, the officer's report, witness testimony, video recordings, and photographs, became an important part of the case, providing a more complete picture of what happened between Combs and Ventura during that period. Cassie Ventura gave very candid and emotional testimony about the events of August 2018, which she said were a turning point in her life. She said she met with Sean Diddy Combs at a dinner in Malibu with the intention of ending the conversation between them. At the time, she was already in a relationship with her current husband, Alec Fain. According to her, Combs was playful and romantic during dinner, displaying friendly and warm behavior. After dinner, he drove her home, where everything happened. With deep emotional pain, Ventura said that she was raped by Combs in her living room. She described the scene as follows. She tried to resist, cried, and said, "No," but it all happened very quickly, and she felt that Combs may not have even noticed her tears and refusal. This moment left her with deep trauma that Ventura still experiences to this day. She later admitted that she voluntarily agreed to another intimate encounter with Combs, even though their romantic relationship had already ended by that point. She also noted that after their breakup in 2018, they had several casual encounters that were informal in nature, just checking in, exchanging greetings without any serious intentions or emotional intimacy. This testimony became one of the key moments of the trial, underscoring the seriousness of the allegations and Ventura's emotional state. During the trial, Cassie recounted in detail how, even after her romantic relationship with Sean Diddy Combs ended, he continued to threaten her and tried to control the situation even from a distance. She cited as an example a 2019 text message in which Combs wrote to her, "If I were you, I would get my money." According to Ventura, this phrase referred to compensation that Combs wanted to receive because her current husband, Alex Fine, was her official personal trainer, and Combs had previously paid for his services. It turns out that after the breakup, Combs demanded money related to this relationship. In the correspondence, Combs also wrote to her in an aggressive tone, "You will not threaten me," and also said that Ventura had too many iPads full of skeletons, implying that she had compromising information or evidence against him. This expression symbolized secrets or negative facts that Ventura could reveal. Ventura responded that the situation was much deeper and more serious than just emails or videos from the Freak Offs series. She emphasized that behind these words were years of abuse and emotional pressure she had experienced in her relationship with Combs. In her testimony, she said that their relationship was accompanied by physical abuse and psychological control, which continued even after they broke up. She wanted to convey to the court that the threats and pressure she spoke of were not just arguments or disagreements, part of a much more serious history of abuse and manipulation she had faced. Also today in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs, there was an important and emotionally charged moment involving Cassie Ventura's husband, Alex Fine. During the latest hearing, as Cassie continued to testify against her ex-boyfriend, Alex was in the courtroom supporting his wife. He sat nearby by the aisle to be close to Cassie during this difficult time for her. This was seen as a sign of his support and solidarity with his wife during the difficult trial, which involved very serious allegations of violence. However, everything changed when the prosecutor began asking questions about the events of 2018, the year in which, according to the prosecution, the key incidents related to Ventura's rape, of which Combs is accused, took place. At that point, Alex quietly rose from his seat and left the courtroom. This was done at the direction of Judge Arun Subramanian, who had made a special ruling the day before. The defense attorneys for Combs had stated that they might call Alex Fain to testify in the case. For this reason, the judge ruled that in order to maintain the integrity and impartiality of the trial, Fain should not be present in the courtroom when these 2018 charges were being discussed. Thus, his removal from the courtroom at this point is standard court practice aimed at preventing any potential influence on the proceedings. The judge has thus ensured that testimony and discussions on the most sensitive issues will take place without undue pressure or influence. As for Alex Fain himself and his relationship with Cassie Ventura, their story is quite interesting. They got married in 2019 during a fairly modest and private ceremony in Malibu. This marriage took place about a year after Cassie ended a long-term relationship with Combs. According to Ventura in an interview with Vogue, they first met at the gym where Alex works as a personal trainer. It was there that their relationship began, gradually developing into something serious and eventually leading to marriage. Thus, Alex Fain's presence at the trial was an important element of moral support for Cassie. His departure from the courtroom at the moment when the most serious charges were being discussed reflects legal rules and defense strategy aimed at ensuring the fairest possible trial. Prosecutors have finished questioning Cassie Ventura, the ex-girlfriend of famous rapper Sean Diddy Combs, during her direct examination in court. According to some experts, Ventura's testimony was exactly what prosecutors wanted to hear. Eli Honig, an experienced lawyer and CNN analyst who previously worked as a federal and state prosecutor, said Ventura's testimony was very convincing and credible. He noted that it is important for a prosecutor not just to hear the allegations, but for those allegations to be backed up by real evidence. And in this case, that is exactly what happened. Her words are corroborated by video, text messages, and emails. This is what is known as a star witness, when testimony is not just based on words, but backed up by facts. However, the charges against Combs are serious federal crimes. This case is not just about what happened, but whether it falls under federal law, meaning it's under the jurisdiction of a federal court, not just local courts. Legal analyst Joey Jackson, who also practices criminal law, explained that even if Ventura's testimony shows that Combs did commit assault and other crimes, prosecutors still need to prove that those crimes are federal crimes. This is very important because there are different levels of jurisdiction in the U.S., federal and state. If the crimes occurred at the state level, for example, only within one state, they will be handled by local authorities. But if the crimes involve multiple states or federal laws, the case will be handled by federal prosecutors. Ventura's cross-examination will begin tomorrow in court, when Combs' defense attorneys will be able to question her. They will try to clarify details and possibly cast doubt on her testimony. An important issue will be whether the crimes committed were federal crimes. The defense may try to prove that these are ordinary crimes that should be tried in state court, not federal court. A lot depends on this. For example, which laws will apply, procedures will be followed, and what penalties may be imposed if the defendant is found guilty. Thus, although Cassie Ventura gave a very convincing testimony, which was supported by evidence, the prosecution still has a difficult task ahead of it: convince the jury that federal laws were violated. Cassie Ventura's lawyer, Douglas Wigdor, spoke to reporters outside the courthouse in New York, where he discussed the third day of his client's trial against Sean Diddy Combs. According to Wigdor, Cassie gave very strong and convincing testimony, which he believes will help people understand the gravity of the situation. Wigdor noted that Ventura's testimony was very sincere. She openly recounted everything that had happened to her, without hiding the difficult and painful details. He said that it was not easy to listen to her. It was the truth. According to him, if he were in the shoes of the defense attorneys who will be conducting the cross-examination, it would be a very difficult task for them. In addition, the lawyer confirmed that Ventura's lawsuit against Combs, which she filed in 2023, was settled for $20 million. He said that this was simply a fact of the case and did not surprise him. Wigdor emphasized that testifying while pregnant is extremely stressful and challenging for Cassie. She is in a difficult position, as she is about to give birth. It is not easy to talk about her past. Nevertheless, she is showing tremendous strength and resilience by continuing to tell the truth and not hiding from the difficulties. The lawyer also said that during the entire period covered by Cassie's testimony, almost 10 years, she had to go through many difficult moments, including serious thoughts of suicide. He emphasized that it takes a lot of courage to speak openly about such things. When asked about Ventura's current emotional state, Vigdor explained that she was in a very difficult condition, including under the influence of medication prescribed to help her cope with trauma and stress. Despite this, she realized that she had to tell the whole truth to end her suffering. The lawyer was also asked about Cassie Ventura's husband, who appears to be also deeply affected by everything that has happened. Vigdor responded briefly but succinctly, "Put yourself in his shoes," thereby indicating that the situation is very difficult and emotionally complex for the Ventura family. At the end of the interview, Douglas Vigdor noted that he strongly believes in the fairness of the judicial system and hopes that the jury will hear the truth. He emphasized that today was a very important day for the case and for justice to prevail. After Cassie Ventura finished testifying in court, a touching moment took place in the courthouse corridors, which was noticed by journalists and those present. Sean Diddy Combs' family gathered together, forming a small circle. They held hands and hugged each other. It was their way of supporting each other during a difficult time. The court hearings had been very tense and emotionally draining for everyone involved, so this moment of unity and calm was very important to them. Standing in the circle were Combs' sons, his mother, and several other close relatives. You could see on their faces that they were experiencing serious emotions, most likely anxiety and fatigue, but also hope that truth and justice would prevail. Their actions, holding hands and praying together, showed how hard they were trying to maintain their inner strength and support each other during this difficult time. The scene took place in the lobby of the courthouse, a place where people usually pass by, rushing about their business. But at that moment, the space was filled with a quiet but powerful energy of mutual support and unity. Shortly after the prayer and hugs, the family left the courthouse together. They left the courtroom not just as relatives, but as a team ready to go through whatever challenges the trial brings. After the jury left the courtroom, there was a dispute between prosecutors and defense attorneys over certain text messages that are planned to be used in the case against Sean Diddy Combs. Prosecutors expressed serious concerns that the defense had brought in messages stating that Cassie Ventura had intimate relationships with other men besides Combs, including escorts. According to the prosecution, these messages should not be presented in court as they go beyond the scope of admissible evidence. The parties had agreed not to use details in court that could distract the jury and mislead them. On the other hand, defense attorney Mark Agniello explained that these text messages are important for understanding the nature of the relationship between Combs and Ventura. The correspondence mentions infidelity and jealousy and uses rather crude and emotional language. According to Agniello, this is how people often express their feelings and resentment when faced with betrayal and infidelity. He argues that without these messages, it is impossible to fully understand the dynamics of their relationship and the motives of those involved in the conflict. Judge Arun Subramanian decided that it was necessary to carefully consider the arguments of both sides before admitting these messages as evidence. He asked prosecutors and defense attorneys to prepare and submit written submissions on the matter to him this evening. After receiving these documents, the judge plans to hold a hearing tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, before the jury returns to the courtroom. That hearing, a final decision will be made on whether the disputed text messages can be shown to the jury. This decision is of great importance as it will determine the extent to which the jury will be able to gain a complete picture of the personal relationship between Combs and Ventura, including such complex and sensitive issues as infidelity and emotional distress. On the other hand, the judge is trying to protect the process from excessive emotional bias and avoid introducing information into the case that could distract or shift the focus away from the main charges. After that, at 9:30 a.m., the trial will resume, with questioning and arguments proceeding in light of the judge's decision on this issue. This approach helps maintain a balance between the need to present the truth in court and the protection of the rights of all participants, ensuring a fair and impartial hearing. Today, Cassie Ventura publicly confirmed for the first time an important detail related to her civil lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, which was filed in November 2023. During her testimony in court, she said that the parties had reached a settlement agreement under which Combs paid her $20 million. This was the first official confirmation of the specific settlement amount. Ventura filed the lawsuit accusing Combs of rape, she said occurred in 2018. In addition, she claimed that during their long relationship, she had been subjected to repeated physical and other abuse by him. These allegations were serious, and Combs immediately denied them publicly. Despite this, the parties decided to drop the lawsuit and enter into a settlement agreement the day after the lawsuit was filed. In a statement released at the time, Combs emphasized that they had decided to settle the dispute amicably and expressed his best wishes to Cassie Ventura and her family. He decided to resolve this matter amicably. "I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love." Cassie Ventura also released an official statement emphasizing that the decision to settle was made on terms she could control and expressing gratitude to her family, lawyers, and fans for their support during this difficult time. Until now, the financial details of the agreement had not been disclosed. In addition, Combs' lawyer at the time, Ben Braffman, explained that the agreement should not be seen as an admission of guilt, simply an attempt to avoid a lengthy and complicated trial. It is worth noting that Ventura's civil lawsuit is a separate case that is not directly related to the criminal case against Combs. In the criminal trial, he faces serious charges of criminal conspiracy, human trafficking for sexual exploitation, and extortion, and the investigation into these charges continues independently of the civil settlement agreement. Thus, this information about the settlement agreement adds a new dimension to the trial, showing that the parties had previously attempted to resolve the dispute outside of court. But the case has now entered the public arena with serious allegations and ongoing criminal proceedings. Cassie Ventura was unable to hold back tears as she told the court how she had to undergo rehabilitation and trauma therapy in February 2023. She spoke candidly about the difficult times she had been through. While filming a music video with another artist, she had flashbacks, sudden vivid memories of traumatic events. These experiences led her to have very dark thoughts, including suicidal thoughts. Ventura confessed, "That moment I didn't want to live anymore. I just couldn't cope with the pain that was haunting me." She said that she tried to leave the house to go out through the front door, but her husband stopped her from doing so. This is a very difficult and emotional moment in her testimony, which shows how deeply she was traumatized by the events of her past. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health issues, it is important to know that help is always available. You can call 988 or visit 988lifeline.org for free and confidential support. Cassie Ventura's testimony and the evidence presented in court provide a deep and complex understanding of the dynamics of her relationship with Sean Diddy Combs. Her testimony, supported by photos, videos, emails, and text messages, allows the jury and the public to see the extent of the abuse, threats, and psychological pressure she endured over many years. Although Combs denies all charges, Ventura's evidence and personal recollections form the cornerstone of the prosecution's case. The trial, which aims to uncover the truth, highlights the importance of thoroughly examining all evidence to reach a fair verdict, especially when it comes to serious allegations such as human trafficking and domestic violence. It is important to remember that even the most prominent and influential figures should not be above the law, and victims of violence deserve support and protection. Furthermore, this story draws attention to the broader issue of domestic violence and abuse, as well as the need to create an environment in which victims can speak out and seek justice. Regardless of the outcome of the trial, this process serves as a powerful reminder to society of the need to combat violence, break the silence surrounding it, and build a safer and more just future for all.